This podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Seek a licensed professional for investment advice about crypto or any other investment. Welcome to the Blazing Crypto Podcast. I'm Brandon and I'm your host today, and as always, I'm joined by the man of the perpetual hoodie. Justin, you're keeping the brand alive today with more hoodie action. How's it going?
Yeah, I enjoy my hoodies. I've gotten a few comments from people that watch the show on YouTube, and my wife was making fun of me. So I was telling Brandon I need to figure out some sort of summer hoodie action because once it gets warm, I'm not going to want to be doing this anymore.
Well, if you've got friends making comments and your wife making fun of you, that sounds like mission accomplished to me. So I'm glad to hear everything is going well there. Well, thanks for joining us today. We have an exciting announcement to make on this episode. First, before we get there, we wanted to start with a market update. Really, the last 5 to 6 weeks has been pretty tumultuous, a lot of uncertainty. Some continuing movement downward, and then what's ended up being a pretty long chop in a horizontal channel, as they like to say. What we want to dive into at the outset here is how to handle that market uncertainty, how to think about it, what to do, what not to do. And I think I would put it like this. You know, for all of the good of crypto Twitter has some wild swings. We go from insanely positive, insanely bullish, to unbelievably negative. Everything is going to, Bitcoin's going to 20K. We're going to retest 2017 all-time highs. I mean, we're talking about in a matter of days or a week. Crypto Twitter has just, they've run the gamut, right? And then in the last week or two, it's almost like crypto Twitter went completely silent. And so, Justin, we talked about this. Even people we rely on, people that we follow to sort of like man a seat at the table, so to speak, and represent a certain viewpoint, they go from tweeting like 8 to 12 times a day to crickets. So I want to ask you, just right at the outset here, when we've got these big swings going on, we've got this continually negative move, while frankly a lot of people were expecting a positive move. How do you find a true north in this scenario and stay sane? What's helpful for you?
Yeah, I like to think about. I was having a conversation with someone recently about this. And the question I asked them, because they were obviously experiencing the volatility, and it's not fun. I don't care who you are. It's never fun unless it's going up. The volatility going up is always fun. But no, like I asked him, where does your conviction lie? Right? Is Bitcoin to you just a price of an asset that you see on a screen? Is that what you're investing in? Are you investing in the price of an asset, or are you actually investing in the underlying fundamentals of the assets, right? And when you separate price from asset, that can be really helpful. And I do that a lot during volatility, because it's like, okay, yeah, like Bitcoin went through a 38% drop so far from the top, where it was at. I don't think it actually touched 70,000. It touched right underneath that, but a 38% drop in a few weeks. Well, Bitcoin is still just as valuable as it was, 6 months ago. From what it has to offer, its value proposition, it's just as valuable. Companies are still seeing it as just as valuable. Billionaires are buying more. People are buying this dip. So I try to separate the price movement from the actual underlying value of the asset, because it helps me have clarity on, no, I'm here for the long haul. I'm investing in this technology. And therefore, I don't care if the price drops 20% on this piece of tech that I love. All that means is that now the tech that I love is 20% off. I can buy a discount, right? So in a sense, it's like, yeah, just have that the ability to separate the price from actually the value of Bitcoin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. Even some of the principles we've talked about in earlier episodes, like zooming out, not being so close to micro movements, understanding that the volatility, while it's, as you mentioned, not fun, the volatility also is our friend, because just as hard as it swings down, we know it moves up just as just as violently. It's just that we don't think about it as volatility when it's going up. It just seems like, oh, that was an eventuality. Of course it's doing that, right? We knew that would happen. I think it's also important here to point out two factors that are really two sides of the same coin. It's really important that we manage our risk well in our allocation and how much money we're putting into or taking out of the market. And we've talked about the fact that, if these price swings make us very, very nervous or scared or whatever, it's probably an indicator that maybe we just have too much exposed. We put in maybe a little bit more than we should have, or we thought that we had the wrong expectations. Like, there's no way this is going down, right? People are calling for 100K by end of December, and so maybe we overplayed our hand in a given week or a given month. And this is really where the dollar cost averaging is, honestly, it's just beautiful. A lot of times I'm talking to friends or family that it's almost like they've got this cash reserve or this cash hoard, and they're trying to figure out the exact perfect spot to snipe the market. Mm-hmm. And even if you did that at 57 or 53, you move this cash stack in, and then we drop all the way down. At some point, I don't know, might have touched 43 or 44. That's just not a great feeling. And what we love about dollar cost averaging is that it lets you average into the space where you're never over risking your cash.
Yep. Yeah, I had this is like a small story on that, or one kind of like another angle on that. I agree with the statement. A lot of times, if you're feeling that much stress, it probably means that you have too much at risk or whatever. I mean, obviously there are other factors too, like especially if you're new into the market or you've just recently entered the market, you're going to be stressed even if you've got like 50% cash still and like 50% just Bitcoin. It's just going to be stressful. But a lot of times what people do when they start off is they wait for the price to like pump to give them confidence, and then they start buying or they buy in heavily. Well, what happens is, because of the volatility, they bought a local top and now the price starts going down again. And so they're underwater almost immediately, right? Now it's very stressful. But if you have the ability to enter the market and start buying more aggressively on the dips, now if you had done that this year, you'd be buying in on this $30,000 to $40,000 range all summer. Well, yeah, a dip from 69,000 down to 42,000, it's still not fun, but at least you're not immediately underwater. So a lot of times the way you enter the market, if you're just beginning, and kind of the timing of all of that it can set you off on a really good start, or it can cause a lot of stress from the beginning.
That's good. Yeah, I think DCA, at the end of the day, it really reveals if you have a fundamental belief in an asset class, the only thing you need to do is be on the right horse. You don't have to time it right. You don't have to, just be on the right horse. And again, we think we've identified the right horse, which is why that strategy is so helpful. All right. Well, without further ado, we actually want to segue off of talking about processing market uncertainty and difficulty into this announcement. So we're excited to announce today that we're starting the Blazing Community. The Blazing Community is going to be a paid membership group for our audience, for our community. And this is going to allow us, and what I'm really excited about, this is going to allow us to continue to deepen, to further the kind of learning, the kind of exposure, the kind of community and back and forth and helping our friends and people that will hopefully soon be our friends in our network and our friends' networks and all across the country, all across the world, really navigate their own path with crypto. And really at the outset here, the vision behind this is that you and I, Justin, and some friends that have walked along this journey with us, one thing that we've discovered is that there is a lot of learning to do in this space. And it's not just the kind of learning where you read an article, you study up on a new term. It's not necessarily simply about gaining knowledge. It's what some folks are calling rapid learning, which actually involves having skin in the game. It means that you hear about a new tool, you hear about a new project, you hear about a new blockchain, and you actually take a stand on it, and you actually decide to download this thing, to take a little small position in that release, and not over risking anything, but rapid learning involves doing, right? Because when you step in, when you get skin in the game, it fundamentally changes the way your brain works with the information you are hearing. And with the Blazing community, what we're excited about is that we're all able to move down that road together. So at a high level, we think ultimately this will give more people the clarity to actually invest with confidence, to sort of get their legs under them, identify a path, identify a plan they can adopt, and so they don't just feel like they're throwing money in willy-nilly, so to speak. I mentioned the rapid learning, but also developing a plan for making profits and taking profits. We've talked about exit strategies. This is a big part of that, but it's in real time, right? It's not just theoretical information. We're actually telling you what we're doing or what other people are doing that we respect. And then finally, it's access to real-time insights, real-time analysis. What is the market doing right now? What pieces of on-chain should we be pulling in? Why are we in this cycle? Why are we in this spot? And it's not that we have all knowledge, but we do have enough experience and information where we can guide through that process, and we really enjoy doing that. So, Justin, take us a little bit deeper. What is the Blazing community, and what should people expect if they decide to join and go further down the trail with us?
Yeah, so there's a few, I guess there's a few different areas where we want to create value and content. So I'll just kind of go through some of those. One of the first big things that we wanted to do was just be really create some sort of simple dashboard where you can see, for example, dollar cost averaging. Like, what are the few assets that we are dollar cost averaging into right now, and also like from a percentage wise or like ratio, whatever maybe we're buying 30% Bitcoin, 30% Ethereum, and 30% USDC. And as we make adjustments to that dollar cost average plan, we'll update that dashboard. And that's something that doesn't change very often. My dollar cost averaging, I haven't changed it in probably 6 months. But there'll be a few times throughout a whole Bitcoin cycle where we'll want to make adjustments to that to really just capitalize on opportunities of bear market versus bull market. So yeah, that dashboard is really cool where it keeps those numbers in front of you. Another one is market updates. And this is something that will be sort of sporadic just because the nature of the bull market is very sporadic, and the bear market, everything is very sporadic in crypto, or at least it feels that way sometimes. So we'll be able to send out market updates just to have, hey, yeah, Bitcoin's down 15% this morning. Like, what's going on? Basically be able to send out, a quick 3 or 4 minute video to kind of get an update on maybe something there was happened in the news that helped trigger that event or whatever, maybe even recently this week, we've seen a lot of information coming from the feds on just the economic landscape and how that might affect the immediate price movement. It can just help bring clarity there. Also, with market updates, though, would be something a little bit more in depth. If Brandon and I really need to do like a 10 or 15 minute shorter podcast that's private just for that group, we can do that and post that there. Sorry, I'm trying to fly through, and I realized I didn't have my water, so I'm like dying of thirst right now.
Justin, could I mention something there?
Sure. Yeah.
From a market update standpoint, when you say that, what I immediately think about this summer when Bitcoin had fallen. People didn't expect it. We're in the $30,000 to $35,000 to $40,000 range, and again, we were able to see on-chain data that said that basically tell us who was buying, and basically the whales, the people we want to be buying and selling with, they were moving into the market pretty heavily. Again, that gave us a lot of confidence to continue our dollar cost averaging and not be sort of overly fearful, or at least without insight into what's going on in the market. And that's the kind of thing, again, that level of information is unavailable on like an everyday basis. It's not like something wild happens every day, but the point is that one piece of information is what gave me a lot of confidence to continue my DCA investing through the summer, where I was able to average into Ethereum at somewhere around 2K, and I'm buying Bitcoin in the low 30K range. So that one piece of information proved to be, even with where we are right now, tremendously valuable. So continue. I wanted to share that one story.
No, that's good. Okay, so the next one would be learning new tools. So I'll give you an example of this. In crypto, there's this whole, I guess you could say, segment of the market called decentralized finance, or DeFi. We've talked a little bit about that on podcasts, and it's in some of our getting started videos, our trailhead videos. But I want to kind of dive into that for a second. So within decentralized finance, there's a lot of different ways to, let's say you're holding Solana or Ethereum or Bitcoin. There's a lot of different ways to stake that and actually earn interest on it, to basically take the crypto that you've bought and just capitalize on it a little bit more through things that are called farming, yield farming, staking. They're not overly complex in that I think basically anybody can learn them for sure. But having someone to be there to answer questions and help you just know how to approach that decentralized financial world in a way that is helping you lower your risk, but still, be exposed to maximizing your gains as much as possible is really important. So one thing there is, I think this was early, it all merges together. I think it was earlier this year in 2021. Radium is a platform built on Solana that released, and that was something from day one. I was on Radium. I wanted to learn the tool, and there were a lot of people kind of coming into the platform at that time. And really what that presents, if you can be one of the first movers on a project like that, the learning is great, don't get me wrong, but also the financial gains that can come from that can be really, really impactful, especially as something is so new and just taking off. So being able to identify, hey, there's this new tool over here, let's go check that out. Here's how it works. Here's what you can get from it. And then taking that information and really bringing it back to the community and just helping them learn that new tool for anybody that's interested in it. So that's learning tools. Another one would be this isn't as much as about actual tools, but just knowing about new projects or new coin offerings that are coming up. So I'm in the market a lot and staying close to crypto Twitter. So a good example of this would be there was a new protocol coming out on Solana called Mango Markets, and this is a project that I'd been following for a while. They built this decentralized exchange where you could you could basically swap tokens on it and do some trading. Well, that coin release dropped, I think sometime in like June or something like that. Well, we were able to be ahead of that, 3-4 weeks. We knew it was coming. It gave us time to say, okay, this is how much we want to go ahead and buy into this coin release, learn how to do it. So we knew what to expect when the day of the launch came. But really being able to walk through that process. Well, it didn't matter. Even if you just threw $100 into this new coin release, you were able to get in at 14 cents. And, Mango Markets has been all the way up to 50 cents, all the way back down to 19 cents. But it was a really good entry to be early in on that project. And a lot of times that process, I want to say it's like perfectly repeatable, because there's also coins that I was in on from the beginning that didn't do well. So it's not like it always hits, but it's rewarded handsomely when you can be ahead of the market and be anticipating what things are, which new coins are coming, and then jumping on those opportunities. So that would be another way to look at it.
So we've talked about, I was going to say, just to give an overview here, the DCA scoreboard, our approach to DCA, continuing sort of to hold you accountable even on that path. Regular market updates via text, via video, showing charts. Justin, you mentioned learning new tools. And I was even thinking about things like, for a lot of the way Web3 and where blockchain is headed, if you want access into things like NFTs or other things that you're hearing about, you're going to need to understand how to set up a web wallet. That's something we would have training material on, a video guiding you how to set one up, helping you understand how to protect your seed phrase so you don't lose everything you have. The point is, from a learning new tools side, there are new tools that come out literally every single month, and we're helping you stay ahead of the curve. We're spending a lot of time on those tools ourselves, and then we'll pass the learning on to you. You mentioned new projects, new coin offerings. Justin, one of the big things I remember is, first of all, you were super early. You bought the release of Solana at a very low total that I will not name on the recording. But even all along, there's a famous chart that you made in really guiding several of us into where Solana was headed that let us take very strategic positions that have really paid off handsomely. So there's a lot more there that if you've never been exposed to that kind of information, it's just really, really nice. And this is not a trading group. We are not simply identifying trades to move in on, but like Justin said, being early is really, really valuable. Justin, mention another thing or two here, and then we'll talk about how to sign up here as we get close to wrapping up.
Yeah, so a few more things that we'd really want to highlight is just knowing where the market is going. This is at a really high level. As blockchain moves into existing industries like supply chain, healthcare, video games, gaming, blockchain is going to be moving into those industries and affecting them, some of them at very rapid paces. So part of the point of this group is to help you really kind of navigate that process. Knowing that blockchain is going to really affect supply chain in the world will help us identify new opportunities of companies that are being started, investments that we can make. So that's one thing. Gaming as well, knowing that a lot of the gaming space is being built on these several blockchains, and we want to get more exposure to that. Like, that's really important. So that would be another one. Another one is just like this, sort of like just informational, educational learning, right? I know I've had a lot of questions. I know Brandon had as well. A lot of questions around, hey, what does this coin do? Or like, what is Filecoin? What is Sushi? What is Compound? What are all these different coins? And one of the things that we want to do is really help you guys learn the different products that are out there in the crypto market and kind of like what makes them unique, what makes them valuable, or I guess you could say like what makes them very ununique and very unvaluable and why you should just avoid it entirely. but that can be really helpful, just having that information. The final one then would be doing like group calls. So one thing we want to do is actually have occasional like a conference call. Sounds so business-like, but basically, hey, let's jump on a voice call on Discord, and let's just take open questions. Maybe we want to talk about a specific protocol, or we realize, hey, a lot of you guys are really wanting to learn about this. Let's jump on a call and we'll schedule it, record it. So, if someone wants to listen to it later, but have that discussion available for the community, just to really give the information to you guys that you need. That can be really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One more thing that I almost forgot, and this is a really good angle too. One thing that we want to be able to do is just let you guys know, hey, this is when we're taking profits, right? I'm taking profits on Ethereum today, or you know what? I'm buying Ethereum more heavily today. Knowing when we're making those larger decisions of either entering the market, exiting the market, or moving across, from more of a Bitcoin based investment strategy over to a more Ethereum based, like those bigger decisions, we want to merely make sure that you guys have exposure to that.
Yeah, and I'll say this personally. Justin has been a huge key and driver to my own learning, and I would even say my exposure to Justin, the things he's learned, the things he's pursuing, the digging he does. It actually fuels my own learning. So it's not simply that I'm taking everything Justin says and just sort of acting on it. He'll explore something. We have lunch. He mentions a talking point to me, and it really helps me know what I'm interested in, what I need to research, or hey, there's a term I've never heard before. And that's one of the things we want to emphasize is that if you don't like learning new things, and if you don't like rapid learning, where you're actually trying things and jumping into the pool and not just sort of sitting beside the pool watching other people jump in. If you don't like learning, crypto is not going to be a good space for you. It's going to be something that again, it will leave you behind. And so crypto really is about rapid learning. And so Discord is our platform that we're going to use. And Discord may be new to you. You may have used Slack at work or another. It's kind of hard to know what kind of tool to call it. But it's a tool that's essentially part of it's part community forum and messaging. But it's also a place where we can post updates and content and charts and videos and give guidance and analysis of market information. But I would say commit to learning, commit to growth, commit to learning a new tool like Discord. Everything feels a little bit, wrong-handed, to put it one way, the first time you try it. But I really believe this is the path, towards really the way that the world is moving. And this is probably maybe step one or step two of a really successful path for you. A really quick story before we talk about how to sign up today. A really quick story. I was actually at an event last week, and it was just something for family, just really going for something my daughter was doing. Ended up striking up a conversation, realizing that the guy that I'm talking to is actually a friend of a friend. Didn't know that, and he actually mentioned when I told him my name or whatever, and he actually mentioned, he's like, "Oh, you guys have the podcast," which is sort of random and cool. But what he said was really important to me. He said, my son and I are listening to the podcast. His son might have been, 8 to 12 years old. He said, my son and I are listening to the podcast, and that's actually the primary way we are fueling our learning in this new space. There's a lot to learn. We're a little bit overwhelmed, but the podcast is really how it's basically leading us along. And honestly, that was so rewarding because that's really why we created this thing to begin with. So again, the Blazing community, it's going to be a paid Discord group. We are going to give you access to everything we know how to give you access to. I think you'll be surprised with how much information, learning, and guidance there is there. There will be on Discord. But Justin, as we wrap up today, talk about how to sign up. Where do people go? What should they expect? And how much is this thing gonna cost them?
Sure. So if you go to our website, blazingcrypto.io, go to our website, check that out. You're going to see a join button on the homepage there to join the Blazing community. You just click on join. It's going to take you to a page where you can just read about some of the things that we talked about in the podcast here. But it'll give you the ability to sign up. And the introductory rate for this is $12.99 a month. And once you fill out the form, go ahead and sign up. You're actually going to get an email with your username and password to the website where we do host a lot of our content as well. That's you have to log in to get access to it. So you're going to get that email. It'll also have the Discord link. And then on the dashboard on our website, after you're able to log in, we have a lot of that's where we have our DCA scoreboard. And even on that page, there's another section for Discord where you can click join Discord, and it'll give you the link to download the app and get signed in and everything. So yeah, it's very simple. $12.99 a month. And we'd love to see you guys come out and hang out on the app, ask questions. And if you have any questions regarding crypto, like that's something that we want to be readily available to really start answering for you guys.
Yeah. Also to mention, Discord has an application. You can download it to your laptop, desktop, but it also has a mobile application. And that's a lot of times when I'm on the consuming end, a lot of times what I'm doing is actually on a mobile app. Maybe it's over lunch while I'm waiting for my food to come. If I'm grabbing a quick lunch on the work day. And I think one thing to emphasize is that Discord really does offer kind of a learning and exposure at your own pace. It's not something you have to be on constantly. Some people will engage daily or multiple times a day. Some people will engage weekly, multiple times a week. The point is when you need it, it's there. And it's something that we are really excited about. So like Justin said, the introductory rate as we launch here is $12.99 per month. That's something where you sign up, it's going to bill you every month on the date that you signed up, and you can cancel at any time. There's no long-term commitment or contracts. The last thing I'll say is a lot of the learning and value and growth is still ahead of us in this space. Justin and I have to be careful that we don't get too excited about the next bear market. But essentially, if you really want to think about outsized gains where your investment activity is very heavily rewarded, that opportunity is still ahead of us. So the bull market is really where we come to take profits and sort of realize the gain of all that we've done. The bear market is going to be where we actually lay our poles in the water and get the positions that we're most excited about and really build on what we've been building. Justin, anything else to add as we close out here?
I guess I'm just so excited. I am very excited about the next 4 years and kind of seeing, not just excited about seeing how crypto grows and really kind of what I would like to say takes over the world. That sounds a little crazy, but just really having a community of people to walk through that with. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see what new things we learn and what opportunities become available for us.
Very good. Well, thank you guys for listening today. And we're excited to offer the Blazing community to everybody, to everyone that wants to join us on this journey. We're happy to go with you. We're happy to lead you in every way we can. And give us a shot. It's, the cost of Disney Plus or something. Disney Plus is not going to earn you Bitcoin as you watch the shows. So give us a shot. We'd be honored. We'd be thrilled to have you join for the ride. So for Justin, I'm Brandon. Commit to learning something new today. commit to trying something new, commit to rapid learning. All right, we'll see you next time. For more information, check out our website at blazingcrypto.io. Additionally, if you have friends that are new to crypto, share our trailhead videos from our website, which is a great way to get introduced to crypto.